And that is probably the biggest weakness of the thing right now. They're just unable to hold their own against Bitcoin. They were always supposed to be better, and they marketed it that way. But now evidence shows you're not better.
There is no competitive moat to Ethereum.
That's why you can't really invest in these things, because they're targeting a market of being innovative. And you can always have something more innovative to overtake. Either it goes up in value and you can't use it for what it's supposed to be doing, or it can do what it's supposed to do, but it's not going to have value because you can't use it otherwise.
But what would Ethereum be worth if Bitcoin didn't exist?
Archie.
But can you just run us from, I guess the first wave of shitcoinery was the ICOs, wasn't it? Can you run us through what that was like, and then to the so-called DeFi summer era of shitcoinery? And now seemingly that's just like, they have no narrative right now. And it's unmitigated degeneracy, gambling. It's just memes and pump fun nonsense. So like, how do you see the evolution of shitcoinery, and what was it like in each of those eras?
Well, I would say the early stage of shitcoinery, there was a lot more effort into things, right? So it just kind of degenerates over time like everything else. But the first batch, they try to be more like Bitcoin. They're all mostly proof of work coins. Even Ethereum was proof of work coin, right? So you want to mirror Bitcoin as much as possible with a differentiator, like Bitcoin with smart contracts. That's Ethereum's pitch.
Bitcoin,
right?
But cheaper transactions or faster transactions.
Yeah,
that's what
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's a proof of work element, right? Then you have the next generation, which figured, well, that's actually hard work. And the proof of work can be used as a critique, because if you have low proof of work and no one's mining it, then it doesn't look good. So then you move into things like proof of stake, and you have a proliferation of proof of stake systems like Tron, like it fits into that category, and other ones too. And then you degenerate even more into just meme coins. Now it's not even like it's a network and it's a protocol. Now it's a meme coin. And that's good enough.
Yeah.
We have a great community. Buy it. And now I don't know what it is, but you can see it just loses effort with every successive iteration of it, because it gets easier and easier. Now it doesn't matter. Like, people are happy buying.
But you know, I almost have respect for the barefaced degeneracy now, where they're not even pretending. It's just like, no, it's just, you know what I mean? It's like, in a perverse kind of way, the lack of effort in pretending to be something they're not, and they're just saying, it's just a meme. And I almost have a kind of respect for the honesty of that, right? Like, at least if you're going to get rugged and you're going to lose a bunch of money, I'm like, well, you knew what it was, right? No one was pretending to you that it was an investment scheme.
Yeah, well, some people are saying like Solana is more honest than Ethereum, right? It's just that we're centralized, but Ethereum likes to pretend they're decentralized.
Are they still doing that?
Well, you ask Vitalik.
Am I misreading Vitalik in thinking he's having, not in second thoughts, like third and fourth thoughts about all the things like unwinding proof of work or abandoning proof of work and moving to proof of stake? It seems like he's equivocating on that and perhaps lamenting his decision to do that.
You think so? I haven't seen that.
No? Maybe I'm misreading.
I don't follow him that much. Other than
He seems, I think since the bear market, he just seems to be in this kind of existential daze about Ethereum. You don't sense that?
I don't follow him that closely.
I don't follow him closely either, but every time he pops his head up on a timeline, which is not very often, he makes it onto mine, right? And so I'm like, this is not the guy, he doesn't speak with courage, and not courage, the courage of his convictions, with any kind of defined direction and purpose for Ethereum. Like, at least he used to once. You didn't have to believe what he said, but he used to speak that way as a kind of thought leader. And this is where we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. This is where we're taking it. And I'm like, I don't see that anymore from him.
Maybe so, but I remember the last time he popped up on my timeline was when he sort of took control of Ethereum Foundation and said, I'm running this now. So, he's still involved, but I think their whole narrative is crumbling, especially with the drop in price against Bitcoin, right? They're just unable to hold their own against Bitcoin. And that is probably the most, the biggest weakness of the thing right now, because they were always supposed to be better. and they marketed it that way, you pushed it that way, but now evidence shows you're not better. And these other things, seemingly like Solana, are overtaken for being better at being Ethereum than Ethereum is.
So what did they try to do? At first they said, we're kind of like Bitcoin, but better, faster, more efficient, whatever. And then it turned out to be really expensive, much slower, much more cumbersome.
At the very, very, very first, they said, we can't compete with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is number one.
Oh, did they? Okay.
We're going to try to do something different with smart contracts.
Yeah.
And then after they finished their ICO and they had money, that was when the narrative changed and they started pushing the whole thing like we were better than Bitcoin. And you got the whole flippening narrative that we're going to flip Bitcoin's market cap.
So Solana doesn't pretend about competing on decentralization. They said we're centralized.
I don't know if they say it, but it's obvious that it's centralized.
Right.
They don't really...
They switch it on and off for the guy.
Yeah.
For the love of God. They switch it on and off, literally, right? Like if you... Like that's literally single point of failure, right? But my point is like, from the people I've spoken to who have used that compared to Ethereum, they're like, well, it just works like it should when it's on. Yeah. Or compared to Ethereum, it's like it's less clunky, it's easy to use, smoother, cheaper, faster, all the rest of that. And it's kind of like Ethereum has been out Ethereum'd by its rival, and it's still nowhere near what it thought it would be as a rival to Bitcoin. And so it's been squeezed at one end, it could never compete with Bitcoin, and on the other, it's been out shitcoined by... And isn't that what we've been saying all along, though? There is no competitive moat to Ethereum, right? Yeah. And so why wouldn't they just be...
Well, there's no... You're always going to have something newer and fresher that's going to try to be Ethereum, right? So that's why you can't really invest in these things, because they're targeting a market of being innovative, and you can always have something more innovative to overtake the last one.
So like Ethereum's always benefited from the investment grade quality of Bitcoin and its market cap. Like no matter if you were a Bitcoiner or not, at each point of every cycle, it was kind of amazing that it was hitting these heights in market capitalization. But what would Ethereum be worth if Bitcoin didn't exist? If it was a standalone, because it would then be priced at what? As like on its commercial metrics, right? So like I have no idea of what kind of revenue it makes, but would it even be 10% of its current market cap without Bitcoin?
Well, without Bitcoin, it wouldn't exist because it's a copy of Bitcoin in many ways, right?
Yeah, but as a thought experiment.
But as a thought experiment, I don't know. Like it should be the utility of the network. So the network doesn't function when the gas is so expensive. So it has to be fairly low value to do what it does, right? Like you wouldn't want to, like in Vitalik's own words, like you shouldn't pay more than 5 cents a transaction or something like that. So however many transactions, 5 cents. Yeah, it's just a conundrum. Like you're trying to offer this utility service that's meant to do all these things like computation, but then you also have people speculating on the value of the token, which is the fuel for that computation and transaction engine. So it kind of doesn't work. Either it goes up in value and you can't use it for what it's supposed to be doing, or it can do what it's supposed to do, but it's not going to have value because you can't use it otherwise.
One impedes the other. Okay. In some sense, I'm kind of like really happy with this cycle that there's none of that bullshit at them yet. Like there's no bullshit narrative yet with respect to alts. Like they're not pretending. I kind of like that because when I came in, they genuinely thought they were changing the world with decentralized, so-called decentralized finance, and now it's just like, yeah, and everyone's becoming a Bitcoiner. But I'm just wondering what they will come up with next.